Picturesque Lyon is not a typical hotbed of footballing talent, but Lyon's first team has become defined by its prolific youth system. Former alumni include Karim Benzema, Hatem Ben Arfa, Nabil Fekir, Corentin, Tolisso, and Alexandre Lacazette, to name a few. However, recently, Lyon have seemingly lost sight of what saw them dominate Ligue in the early 2000s, but they actually picked up 7 titles in a row. Lyon finished the 22-23 season out of the European places in Ligue with a disappointing 7th place finish, whereas PSG's wealth of imported talent won the league for a 9th time in 11 seasons. So in today's video, we will be taking Lyon back to their roots in a youth-only challenge. Yes, the players that I will be signing will only come through our youth intakes. We will not be spending a penny anywhere else. So can we take this team back to the top of French football using only its youth intakes? Stick around to find out. In this rebuild, we will potentially need several tactics, but we are going to start off using GYR's Deadpool tactic, which you can check out using the link in the description. As we're focusing on youth, we will be pinning 5 existing Lyon players into positions to maximize their development this season. Starting off at the back, we have Malo Gusto. He will be our starting right back. Chelsea have signed him to be a backup for Reece James and loaned him back to Lyon for this season, and he has the potential to be a fantastic player. Another defender pinned into position is Castello Lukeba, who looks the real deal already, aged 19. Every single mental and physical attribute is in double digits, alongside some quality defensive technical attributes. Into the attacking third we go, and we have a wonder kid in Ryan Cherki, who is a very tricky winger who has a potential range of 150 to 180 out of 200. But he needs game time to develop, and we can certainly give him that. On the other wing, we have Bradley Barcola, who is similar to Cherki with his attributes, but slightly less developed. And finally, we're pinning the oldest of the 5, Hatem Aouar, into the cam spot. Aouar has already got over 150 league appearances for Lyon, and we'll be looking for him to lead this side. Looking at the full Lyon squad, we have some older bodies like Jerome Boateng, Dejan Lovren, and Alexandre Lacazette, coupled with lots of exciting youth potential, so I think Season 1 is going to be very interesting. The main focus of this save off the pitch will be developing Lyon's Wonder Kid factory. We will be trying to improve their facilities as much as humanly possible in this rebuild. Looking at the facilities at the start of the save, and Lyon are well equipped for this challenge with 18s for youth facilities, 16 for junior coaching, and 17 for youth recruitment. There will also be a lot of pressure on this man's shoulders. Jean-Francois Vulliers is the club's current head of youth development, and attribute-wise, he looks like he should help us bring some stars through, but only time will tell. In Season 1, Lyon don't actually have a European competition to contest with, so we will only have Ligue and the Coupe de France to worry about. Looking at the pre-season odds, Lyon are 33-1 to win the title and are predicted to finish in 4th place. Flash forward to the end of the season, and we have had a great year and finished in 2nd place behind champions PSG. Who else? Moussa Dembele finished 2nd in the Golden Boot race with 24 goals, but he was still 20 goals behind a certain want-away striker, Kylian Mbappe. Cherki had a fantastic season, chipping in with 12 goals and 23 assists, and he's now valued at 34 to 41 million pounds. Lovely stuff. In the Coupe de France, we made it to the quarter-finals, where we were dispatched by Rennes on penalties after a 1-1 draw, with Henrique missing the final penalty for us. Massive shout out to Rennes, who did go all the way to the final and ultimately lifted the trophy, beating Monaco in that final. Off the field, we've been able to upgrade our training facilities alongside our youth recruitment and junior coaching, and we have a superb youth intake with 6 players regarded as elite talents. The main player I like the look of is Sebastian Viala, who could walk into several teams throughout Europe as a creative central midfielder. This is a name to remember, I'm sure. Moving into Season 2, and we've seen 15 players depart the club for either transfers or loans, amounting to just £1.9 million going into our bank balance. On the field, we've seen the potential drop for Bradley Barcola down to a 4-star potential player. Therefore, Castello, Lukeba, Ryan Cherki, and Hatem Aouar will be pinned into their positions for the season. We've also promoted several of last season's youth intake into the first team squad, so I'm sure they will get some minutes this season. Looking at the league, we are predicted to finish in 5th with odds of 25-1 to win the title, with PSG overwhelming favourites yet again, which will come to no surprise. As we return to the Champions League, we strike it pretty lucky with our group, as we were a 3rd seed team in a group with Ajax, RB Leipzig and Sturm Graz. I'd like to think we could progress here. This could be a real coming of age season for this squad. Let's see how it goes. Before we get into Season 2, I have to talk about this Lyon board being absolute scumbags. In January, as we were simulating through, they sold 2 of our hottest prospects from our youth intake, both to AC Milan. First of all, attacking midfielder Sam Poulain left for £1.4 million before being joined by striker Junior Basol as the window was closing for just £975k. However, this wouldn't be the last of our worries in season number 2. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, our performance in the league was woeful as we finished 7th and outside the European places thanks to our loss to Clermont on the final day of the season. Our main issue? We're just shipping too many goals. Please see Exhibit A, our 4-1 loss at home to PSG, which saw Mbappe feast as he scored all of the goals. And Exhibit B, our 4-0 defeat on the road to Strasbourg. Look at some of these goals that we have conceded. The Coupe de France didn't go much better as we beat a semi-pro team in the 9th round before beating Strasbourg on penalties in the 10th round. However, the 11th round is where our journey came to an end as Marseille dominated the tie and scored some interesting goals as we lost 4-2. Our return to the Champions League was underwhelming as well. RB Leipzig topped our group going through with Ajax. We finished in 3rd, meaning we dropped down to the Europa League with our only win coming away at Sturm Graz. Into the Europa League playoff round we go, and it was German opposition in the form of Borussia Mönchengladbach. We lost the first leg at home, largely down to Hassim Aouar getting a dubious red card just 14 minutes into the game. We did take the lead through Karl Toko Akimbe's first half strike. However, that was quickly cancelled out by Yassine Adli before Alassane Plie sent Gladbach through into the lead in the 94th minute. In the second leg, we actually won the game 4-3, meaning the game went into extra time and ultimately penalties, where we missed 3 of our 5 penalties in one of the worst penalty shootouts you will ever see. The only shining light on the field is the development of this man. Viala ended up getting 17 starts throughout the season in all competitions and has really started to develop into a superstar. Look at that technique, composure, teamwork, vision and work rate all at 16s already. Oh, and he's now been capped by the French under-21 side, which is remarkable considering he's just 16 years old. Off the field, we've been spending all our money on upgrading our facilities, and we are now at max level for our training facilities, youth facilities, and our youth recruitment. Towards the end of the season, the board were understandably upset with us, and we had to go and have a meeting with the board to fight for our job. Luckily, we were able to talk them round, so the video will not be ending now. We will be moving into Season 3, but I think it's time to freshen things up, and maybe we need to introduce a new tactic. We needed a good 3rd season in charge, so it was time to bring out the big guns as we will be switching to GYR's Grogu version 2 moving forward. The tactical switch means we can shuffle the pack personnel-wise and will be pinning Viala into the central midfield position for the entire season. Ryan Cherki is now a 4-star player and he is now listed as a star player in Ligue. However, he does want to move to a club with a bigger and better squad. No Europe means only 2 competitions again this season, Liga and the Coupe de France. The board wants us to get to the Conference League spots in the league and reach the quarter-finals of the Cup. That might be a tough ask with this side. Looking at the pre-season odds, we're 50-1 to win the title, the worst odds we've had in this save so far. The switch up in tactics seemed to have worked wonders as we stormed into a comfortable 2nd place in the league, being 12 points ahead of Marseille, who finished in 3rd. Moussa Dembele was again our top goal scorer, netting us 26 goals and 8 assists in 29 starts. However, that man Mbappe scored 40 again in the league on his own, so yet again no golden boot for Dembele. Ryan Cherki is still at the club and he is now happy with how things are going, and I'm very happy with his performances as he chipped in 12 goals and 15 assists in all competitions this season. However, the star of the show and our now best player is 17-year-old Sebastian Viala. He made 33 appearances this season in all competitions and scored 4 goals and got 6 assists, but his development has been insane. Now with 10 caps and 1 goal for the France under-21 squad, he is valued at £53 to £63 million. I feel it's only a matter of time before one of the big boys comes calling. In the Coupe de France, we were disappointing yet again. We fired our way past a semi-pro side in the 9th round with relative ease before crashing out embarrassingly to Auxerre on penalties, with Silani Diomande blasting his penalty straight at the goalkeeper. Off the field, we've been able to negotiate an improvement for our academy coaching, which is now listed as exceptional. So we're almost maxed out from a facilities perspective. The youth intake this season was solid but not spectacular considering our facilities. The standout player was Armin Ladekar, who could potentially be a long-term replacement for Hatem Ben Arfa. Season 4 is going to be a hectic one as we do return to the Champions League and we will enter in that league phase. Also, because we finished second in the league, we have the Trophy de Champion where we will take on PSG. Tactic-wise, we're keeping things the same as Season 3, with Lukaba, Viala, Barcola and Cherki all pinned into their respective positions. We also have 2 new gens who are getting closer to the starting 11. First, we have Tony Lariou, who is a great physical presence, especially considering the fact that he's 6'4". Alongside him, we have Dayron Lukemi, who has all the hallmarks of an elite centre-back, looking at his heading, marking and tackling as well as his positioning. Let's see how many minutes they both get this season. Looking at the pre-season odds, we're 33 to 1 to win the title and predicted to finish in 6th. However, our board of directors are expecting a Europa League place as a minimum next season. So we better overperform our media prediction. What the journalists know anyway. The season kicked off with the Trophy de Champion where we put up a really good fight, but PSG ultimately took home the trophy. On our side, Moussa Dembele and Florian Sanchez scored our goals, but PSG had a strike force of Kylian Mbappe, who scored a hat-trick, and Evan Ferguson, who looks amazing in this game, saw the trophy head back to Paris. Ligue 1 didn't provide many surprises as PSG secured their 4th trophy in a row, and we managed a 3rd place finish and secured Champions League football for another season. It's taken 4 seasons, but Moussa Dembele has finally managed to win the Ligue 1 Golden Boot as he scored 35 goals in the league, 40 in all competitions, in what was his best season of the save so far. Ryan Cherki continues to develop as a player as he now has 17 dribbling and technique to go along with his 16s for first touch, flair and agility, but this was his worst output so far with only 8 goals and 17 assists. Now let's talk about the god among men, Sebastian Viala, who is just unbelievable. I'm basically running out of superlatives to use to describe this wonder kid. Attribute-wise, he is magnificently well-rounded, making him one of the most complete midfielders I have ever seen to come through a youth intake. He is now wanted by the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid and RB Leipzig and is unhappy because he wants to join a club with a stronger squad. Looks like we might have a financial windfall coming our way over the summer. In other competitions, we had much better performances, making it through 3 rounds of the Coupe de France before losing to Sochaux on penalties after a 1-1 draw, with Bradley Barcola missing the decisive spot kick. As we return to the Champions League, we picked up some solid results in the league phase, beating RB Salzburg, Genk, Ludogorets and RB Leipzig, which saw us finish in 18th and qualify for the knockout stages, where we came up against German champions Bayern Munich. We had the first leg in France, but we weren't able to cause any damage to Bayern as goals from Joshua Kimmich and Goncalo Ramos put the Germans firmly in the driving seat. Our youth intake was okay for another year, as we produced 1 elite talent and 7 top talents, with Yakuba Koulibaly being the best out of these. But to be honest, compared to Sebastian Viala, he looks miles off the pace. Which does really beg the question, as we've maxed out our facilities, do facilities even matter? Perhaps that's a topic for another video. Season 5 was our first summer of no business at all. Obviously, we weren't signing anyone, but 0 players left the club. Looking at the squad, we have a clear issue with squad depth, as our quality drop-off with a few injuries could be catastrophic. But that's what we signed up for with this particular rebuild. Using the squad comparison screen, you can see we have the youngest squad in the league. Our boys' average age is 24.4 years, where the league average is 27.21. Looking at the league, we've slipped back down the odds and we are now 50 to 1 again to win the title with our young squad. But let's be honest, it's going to be PSG's title yet again. Due to our third place finish last season, we actually have to qualify for the Champions League this season, and we will meet Norwegian side Rosenborg in the third qualifying round. Fingers crossed we actually get into the league phase to keep people happy. These are going to be our key players this season, with Dayron Lukemi winning the battle to partner Lukeba in defence. Kevin Cesar will be getting extended minutes this season at right back, but looking at him, he's far from the level we need, but we don't really have any other options at right back. Our Ligue campaign went much better than I was expecting, with us finishing in 4th and securing Champions League for another season with 64 points. Our main issue was losing too many games throughout the season, but I had to include these highlights of our 5-1 thumping of Saint Etienne. One for the Lyon fans watching the video, as I know this is a derby. In the Cup, we reverted back to poor performances. We got past Nims and Red Star in the first few rounds that we were involved with, but lost 4-2 to Lens in the 11th round. However, in the Champions League, things went much better. We did have to qualify for the competition, and we toppled Rosenborg in the third qualifying round, largely down to an impressive home leg. We secured a 4-1 win in France before travelling to Norway and winning 2-1. Next up was AZ Alkmaar from the Netherlands, who made things a little bit more tricky. We were on the road in the first fixture, which was really hotly contested, but that finished 3-3, with our boys battling back into the game from 3-1 down with 2 goals in the final 20 minutes. The second leg was a lot more comfortable for us, even if the scoreline doesn't show that. Ryan Shirky scored the only goal of the game in the 7th minute, but we restricted AZ to just 3 shots off target the whole game. Qualification secured. Job done. In the league phase, we had a nice draw of teams again, getting wins against Club Brugge, Malmo, Ajax, Villarreal, Benfica and Galatasaray. We did lose the games to Arsenal and Napoli, but finished 6th in the table and automatically qualified for the round of 16. Advancing made for some sterner tests, as first up was Atletico Madrid. The first game was in Spain at the Metropolitano, and Diego Simeone's man picked up the win thanks to 2 goals from Alvaro Morata of all people. Back in France, our team of youngsters really turned up and dominated the game from start to finish, with exceptional performances from Bradley Barcola, whose late goals secured our passage through to the next round 6-4 on aggregate. This meant that we qualified for the Champions League quarter-finals, where we came up against Inter Milan. This time, we were at home in the first leg, and Federico Di Marco put the visitors in the lead with a stunning free kick before Moussa Dembele pulled us level from the penalty spot. Quality really shone through in the second leg in Milan, as Inter had secured a comfortable 3-0 victory with goals from Lautaro Martinez, Nicola Barella and Hakan Calhanoglu to see them progress to the semis and see our journey come to an end. I will say, for me, this is a personal overachievement and a team that have really punched above their weight to get to the Champions League. However, that is not the most disappointing news of the season. The end of Season 5 will see the departure of Sebastian Viala. We were unable to agree a deal with him for the past 2 seasons, so sadly he will leave the club on a free transfer to join Serie A champions Napoli. He developed into a world-class talent aged just 20, but sadly it's time to say goodbye to one of the finest talents I've ever seen in FM. But this is where I hand things over to you guys, and you can pick up this save from this moment right now. Moving into the next season, you would have over 200 million in the balance, along with 98 million pounds in transfer budget and around £1 million a week to play with in the available wage budget. Not only would you have all of that cash, but you would have maxed out training facilities as well, and this impressive youth intake coming through the ranks. If you want to get this save, you can do it via my Discord. Links are down below. I post all of my saves in my Discord channel for you guys to continue with, and I think this is going to be a really good one. And if you do like the rebuild content on the channel, check out this playlist. It's all the rebuilds that we've done on this year's game.